Hello everyone, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Gettysburg, The Tide Turns, the newest game out by Slitherine and Matrix Games. It's published by Slitherine. It's made by Shenandoah Studio, which was the iconic iOS strategy developer that made the likes of Battle of the Bulge, Race to Moscow, or Drive on Moscow, I believe it was actually, and a couple of other games as well. The studio did go bankrupt, and Slitherine acquired them and put out the long-delayed Gettysburg, The Tide Turns. So today we're going to go ahead and jump back in and join the game where we left off after our last part that was really a bloodbath at the end of day one. And you can see here we're moving through, I believe this is, I'm not sure whose turn this is. This might be Early's? What's the turn? Let's take a look. We're in the process of Early's turn. Yep. So one of the more well-acquainted Confederate units thus far. So meanwhile, it's now the First Corps' turn. The First Corps is still in pretty good shape, if you remember from our last video. The Second Corps is nearly destroyed, but the First Corps is still has several brigades kicking. Standards brigades really not engaged, 6 out of 6 strength. You've got a full-strength artillery battery under Wainwright. You've got Biddle's brigade, which has taken some casualties, but is still effective. Meanwhile, the Iron Brigade, Stone, and Cutler have all really been chewed up pretty badly, and several other units have been destroyed. We've got that, and we've got the 12th Corps and 2 units from the 11th, as I've already said. We're going to go ahead and move the Iron Brigade over to Standard's flank. I'm going to have him try and attack Doles, and we'll see how that works out. I'm going to move Biddle over to the flank of the Iron Brigade, and this will kind of allow us to maximize our firepower here on the Confederates. Meanwhile, I'm going to move the artillery up behind this line so they can provide fire support for all of these guys. My hope is to crush the Confederate flank here before Anderson's division has a chance to come up and reserve, provide some additional reinforcements. I'm going to leave Stone and Cutler back. I'm not going to ask them to do anything. They're going to rest and hopefully be ready for, any replenishment or whatnot. Because units that have taken damage can regain strength if they do nothing for a turn or a couple turns. Meanwhile, we're going to leave Krasinski's brigade here of raw troops, and we're going to leave the 11th Corps artillery in position where they are as well. So we're just going to kind of leave these folks where they are and not touch the 11th Corps on their turn. See here, we've now got Anderson's unit is ready to move up. So Anderson's division for the Confederates is moving into position. Hopefully they don't move opposite to Biddle. I'm not sure if they can quite get there. His division is still a little bit of a ways out. They're really at least one more full turn away from being fully committed as they come up these roads into the town of Gettysburg. And it looks like they may be moving them more to the center of the Confederate line, maybe as they attempt to consolidate their position around Cemetery Hill. We'll see. This is the last turn of day one, so we'll see how this all plays out. But day one is turns 1 through 11, and then day 2 is kind of from there, I believe 10, 11 turns from there, and then into the 30s. Well, the Confederates rolled their combat before we did. I was kind of hoping they wouldn't. But you can see here their artillery is firing in support, and now we've got the approach fire. I was kind of hoping we'd get a chance to launch our attack first so we could use this artillery I put into position against the Confederates instead of them being able to bombard us first. Fortunately, it doesn't look like their artillery did too much damage. There was only one unit there that I saw took damage, with the rest of the firing somewhat maybe ineffectual, or at least that's my hope. You can see Biddle here. Apparently, when you get hit, you can suffer damage, but it's not necessarily permanent, where you lose a unit, but you can eventually recover. You can also apparently lose permanent damage. So Biddle, you can see here, is down to 1 regiment. However, that regiment is disorganized, so they're going to be shattered. You can see here we shattered 2 Confederate brigades in that attack. We lost 1 brigade of our own. But that's a pretty effective attack. We've got Krasinski pulling back because his troops are raw. They're really not in a position to do too much, take too much damage and survive. And now we've moved to the fighting around Culp's Hill, where looks like Pettigrew's brigade is attacking forward, and our own brigades are under Ruger and looks like Ruger and McDougal. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if the Confederates are going to advance here or not. Again, we shattered 2 Confederate brigades here on the right, so those are brigades that'll never get back. They shattered 1 of ours, so I'll gladly take that trade. And Pettigrew just lost a reasonable amount of casualties. Looks like they lost 3 or 4 units at the cost of 2 of our own. Again, temporary here because you got 2 out of 4, so your strength can be rebuilt with rest and recuperation. If those little squares go away completely, then that strength would be 2 out of 3, for example, if one of these little hollow squares went away, and then you can only recoup up to your maximum, given some rest. But I'm still waiting for something to happen here. The game appears to be loading. And loading. And loading. Looks like it's saying the Confederates are going to advance here, but nothing's happening. Can't select units. It's obviously not my turn. Check the turn status. It says no one is active. No one's turn is going. Okay. Hit commit. Still nothing. Looks like those destruction of enemy brigades really helped our victory points. Oh, what the calendar would show. Oh, okay. So if you click this little arrow down here, you get a little bit more detail around the combat results. So that's kind of interesting. You can see here Dole shattered, Daniel shattered as we kind of scroll down the results. I'm not sure how far back or how many turns back this goes. I don't think this is all this turn. Maybe it was all that turn. I'm not sure. But it definitely gives you a little bit of detail. Doesn't look like we can get anything to happen, though. I don't... Ugh. I hate to come out and say a game is buggy or has issues, but I have noticed, and I try to give a game the benefit of the doubt, because every game has some issues when they come out, unfortunately. You know, sometimes it's one of those things where, you know, there's just a couple of minor things that don't get caught because you don't get enough playtesting around it. But this, to me, seems like a pretty major issue if the game freezes up like this. And if this was the first time it had occurred, I might, you know, make a comment about it. I might try and restart and say, hey, let's see what happens if we try it again. I tried to record this episode twice beforehand, and it froze in both cases. And I don't think it's an issue of a bad save, because I've seen a couple of people on Steam saying, hey, you know, it seems like when you go from the end, when you get to the end of day 1, you've got a lot of trouble proceeding into day 2 of the battle. I thought maybe it was my machine. I live streamed a couple of days ago and I had some issues, and I've been having, you know, occasional minor issues with my machine, but I haven't had any issues playing any other games. And the issues with my machine seem to be more to the fact that I probably need to replace my power supply, because sometimes I'll get random reboots. But it's not rebooting, obviously, so it's not that. It's not my system. Doesn't appear to be a one-time thing. Doesn't appear to be a bad save, because I've played 2 or 3 times already, as I've said. Well, more than that. 3 or 4 times where I've seen this happen. And, you know, twice tonight. This would have been the 3rd time earlier, and I said, all right, well, let's try it one more time, just to see if maybe it was something else. And it keeps happening. It keeps freezing up. You get to turn 10 or 11. You get toward the end of that turn. This is closer to the beginning, but typically you get toward the end of that turn, and the game just freezes on you. I don't know what is wrong. I have no idea what's going on. And this is a fully completed game that's out there. And I gotta say, that's disappointing. I've never had an issue like this on any Matrix or Slitherine game in the past. I mean, sure, some games might have a minor bug here or there, but nothing game-ending, nothing literally, you know, the game is not functional. I'm not going to rant and rave too much longer. I mean, that's kind of the extent of it, but I mean, you guys should know, if you're watching this, that I'm having some issues. You know, I had some issues when I streamed. You guys saw that. And I thought they were me, and I've since had this happen at least 2 more times since then, and I don't think it's me, based on everything that's happening, based on the issues I've had. You know, I thought maybe it was my internet before because the internet was down due to some maintenance, but it's not down. You know, there's nothing Yeah. This is an issue. So I'm gonna keep playing. I'll keep an eye on this game, but I'll keep this save good, and I'll wait to see if Matrix comes out with any patches. I'll post. I'll email them. I'll let them know the issue I'm running into, and I'm gonna post this video so you guys can see it. I will post a video once I see this issue go away. You know, once I'm able to resume the game and kind of reliably play again. But this is, you know, for a single day scenario, it's not a deal breaker. I played the day 1 scenario all the way through without any issues. I played the day 2 scenario all the way through. I played the best 3 hours scenario all the way through. Never saw an issue. The only issues I've seen is when it comes to the campaign scenario. But I imagine that's probably the most popular scenario. That's the one people are going to want to play. They're going to want to fight the whole Battle of Gettysburg. So let me know below, guys. Have you guys been able to play through the campaign scenario without any issues? Or, you know, is this just me? Is this something that's my fault? I don't think it is, but let me know, because I've enjoyed this game. I know some of you have said the art style isn't for you, or it's a little bit too abstract at times, but frankly, I've enjoyed the heck out of my time playing this game so far, but it's beyond frustrating to play to a point pretty deep into the game, a third into the game, and not be able to finish. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts below. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. All right, guys, I'll keep you posted. Feel free to post below, and until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.